Alright, so picture this for a second. It's a beautiful summer morning, the sun is shining and the birds are singing, you know? Me and my buddies. There's Kevin, who honestly thinks wearing a life vest is like a fashion statement or something, and Liam, who brought like 3 different kinds of sunscreen. Then there's Maya, who's basically a professional adventurer, and Chloe, who's just here for the Instagram photos. So we decided, hey, let's go river rafting. What could possibly go wrong, right? We were all so excited, high-fiving and hyping each other up. We looked like a real team, a professional rafting crew. We even had matching neon green helmets. I mean, we looked absolutely ridiculous, but we felt incredible.
Our guide, a guy named River Rick, gave us the safety talk. You know the one. If you fall in, point your feet downstream. Don't panic. We were all nodding seriously, but honestly, inside, we were just thinking, yeah, let's get to the fun part.
Rick pointed to the rapids ahead, calling them names like the washing machine and the blender. I'm just thinking, great, those sound relaxing.
Kevin, of course, was already trying to paddle before we even pushed off the shore. He almost hit Liam in the head with his oar. It was, a sign of things to come. A little preview of the chaos that was about to unfold on this majestic, flowing river.
We finally got into the water, and let me tell you, it was amazing. The raft was bobbing along, the water was cool, and the scenery was just gorgeous. We were all paddling together, kind of. It was more like a bunch of people splashing water on each other with giant plastic spoons. I was in the front, trying to steer us away from a big rock. Liam was in the back, paddling in the complete opposite direction. Chloe was trying to get a selfie with a duck, and Maya was the only one actually trying to keep us moving forward. It was organized chaos at its finest, a beautiful mess floating down a river.
For the first 10 minutes, everything was perfect. We were laughing, telling bad jokes, and feeling like champions of the wild. The water was pretty calm, just a gentle current pushing us along. We were all getting the hang of it, paddling in something that, resembled a rhythm.
Kevin started singing a sea shanty, except he didn't know the words, so he was just making them up. It was something about a pirate who lost his favorite pair of socks. We were all cracking up.
We were on top of the world, floating on our big yellow raft without a care. And that's usually when things get interesting, right? So, we're approaching our first real set of rapids. River Rick called it bumpy bumps. Not very scary, but, you know, the water was definitely getting choppy. The raft started bouncing up and down like a roller coaster. We were all shouting, "Whoa!" It was a blast! I was holding on tight to the rope on the side of the raft.
Maya was yelling instructions. Paddle left, now right, harder. We were all doing our best, but the raft had a mind of its own. It was bucking and spinning, and we were just along for the wild, wet ride. It was exactly the adventure we had signed up for. A real test of our so-called teamwork.
Kevin, in his infinite wisdom, decided this was the perfect moment to stand up. I know, don't stand up in the raft is like rule number 1. But Kevin saw a particularly big wave coming and yelled, "I'm the king of the world." He spread his arms out wide, just like that scene from Titanic.
We were all yelling, "Kevin, sit down, sit down!" But he wasn't listening. He was having his big movie moment. He had this huge, goofy grin on his face, completely unaware of the laws of physics that were about to teach him a very important lesson about balance and gravity.
And then it happened. The raft hit a wave, lurched to the left, and just like that, Kevin was gone. It was like a magic trick. 1 second he was there, being the king of the world, and the next second he was just not. There was a big splash, and then silence for about 2 seconds. We all just stared at the empty spot where he'd been standing. It was so sudden and so ridiculous that we couldn't even process it.
Chloe just slowly lowered her phone, her selfie forgotten. Liam's jaw was on the floor. It was a perfect, beautiful, epic fail, captured forever in our memories.
Then we heard a sputtering sound and saw his neon green helmet pop up out of the water. "Did you guys see that?" he yelled, spitting out a gallon of river water. He wasn't scared. He wasn't hurt. He was just floating. He looked like a confused turtle bobbing in the current. He had this look on his face that was a mix of shock and pure, unfiltered joy.
We all burst out laughing. We couldn't help it. It was the funniest thing we had ever seen. Of course, it was Kevin. It had to be Kevin. The day wouldn't have been complete without it. Alright, so Kevin's in the water. Step 1, rescue him. But this wasn't some dramatic slow-motion movie rescue. This was our rescue, which meant it was going to be completely absurd.
Maya, our resident expert, started yelling, "Throw him the rope! Throw him the rope!"
So, I grabbed the rescue rope. It was all neatly coiled. I tried to do that cool thing you see in movies, where you swing it around your head and it flies perfectly. Instead, I swung it, and the rope just sort of plopped into the water about 2 feet from the raft. It was a complete failure, a total dud.
Liam decided to try a different approach. He grabbed his paddle and stretched it out toward Kevin, yelling, "Grab on, buddy! I'll pull you in!" Kevin, who was floating happily on his back now, reached for the paddle. But just as he was about to grab it, Liam sneezed. It was a huge, dramatic sneeze that made him jerk the paddle back and accidentally whack himself in the forehead. So now we had one friend in the river, and another one seeing stars.
Chloe, meanwhile, was filming the whole thing, providing commentary like a sports announcer. And Liam goes for the paddle save. And it's a miss. A big miss, folks.
We were all laughing so hard we could barely breathe. Kevin was just giggling in the water, enjoying the show.
Finally, Maya took charge. Okay, new plan, she said, trying to sound serious but failing. We're going to paddle over to him, gently.
So we all started paddling toward Kevin. But our gentle paddling was more like a frantic splashing that sent the raft spinning in a circle. We were getting further away from him, not closer. Kevin was just floating away, waving at us like we were on a parade float.
You guys are doing great, he shouted encouragingly.
Eventually, we managed to stop spinning and actually paddle in a straight line. We finally drifted up right next to him. We all reached down and just grabbed a piece of his life vest. With a big, coordinated heave-ho, we hauled him back into the raft. He flopped onto the floor like a giant fish, dripping wet and grinning from ear to ear.
That was awesome. Can we do it again?
We all just looked at each other and shook our heads, still laughing. Our rescue mission was a disaster, but it was the most fun disaster ever.
After the great Kevin overboard incident, all bets were off. The fear was gone, replaced by a need for more silliness. We decided to try some stunts. First up was the raft surf. Liam, feeling brave after his paddle incident, decided to stand on the front of the raft and surf the next little wave.
He lasted for about 5 seconds before gracefully tumbling backward into the raft, right on top of a pile of snacks. Chloe caught it all on camera, of course, complete with a slow-motion replay. It was a beautiful, majestic fail, and we all applauded his effort.
Next, Maya suggested we try synchronized paddling. We were going to look like an Olympic rowing team. We chanted, 1, 2, 1, 2, as we paddled. For a moment, it actually worked. We were gliding smoothly through the water, a perfect picture of teamwork.
Then I got splashed in the face and lost my rhythm, which caused a chain reaction. Soon, we were all just hitting each other's paddles and splashing everywhere. We gave up on synchronization and just had a massive splash fight instead, which was way more fun anyway.
Our raft became a floating fortress in a massive water war.
As the sun started to get lower in the sky, we pulled the raft over to a sandy little beach along the riverbank. The adventure wasn't over. It was time for phase 2, the after party. We unpacked a cooler filled with sandwiches and sodas. Liam had even brought a small portable speaker. We cranked up the music and started a little riverside dance party. We were all still damp from the river. Our hair was a mess, but we didn't care. We were just so happy, replaying all the funny moments from the day and laughing all over again.
As we sat there, watching the sunset paint the sky with orange and pink, I looked around at my friends. Kevin was trying to teach a squirrel to dance, Maya was skipping stones on the water, and Chloe and Liam were arguing playfully about who had the best fail of the day.
It was perfect. We came for a rafting trip, but we got so much more. We got a day of epic fails, ridiculous rescues, and non-stop laughter. It was one of those days you know you'll be talking about for years to come. A perfect adventure with the best crew.